Hello and welcome to the Fellows Corner. I'm Suzanne Norman, Director of External Relations for the Retirement Income Institute, and I'm pleased to have with me today one of my fellow colleagues and education fellow, Mike Harris. And today, Mike and I are going to talk about a new resource that we created. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce Mike with his decades of experience in the protected income conversation, working for Lincoln Financial for, I think, Mike, over 3 decades.
Almost 3 decades.
Almost 3 decades. Great. And Mike's been with us since the inception of the Alliance for Lifetime Income, and he's gained a lot of insight, created a lot of content for us, and we're super excited to talk about his most recent contribution, which is the Annuities 101 Glossary. And Mike, I'd like to welcome you. And certainly, if you'd like to share anything else about your experience at the Alliance, contributing all of these education resources, I welcome you to share. And anything else you'd like to add?
No, not really. I appreciate your comment of, decades of experience. That means I'm old and seasoned. And so I've seen a lot of things come and go in my career, probably over 40 years in this business. But being with the Alliance for the last 8 years has really been fun. We've got a mission, and we've done well with that mission, and the mission is important. And so hopefully what we're doing today is just additive to our success and to help consumers.
Thanks, Mike. Well said. And yes, I think we've talked a lot about the fact that we are in the peak 65 era where we are seeing more Americans turning 65 than we've ever seen before. And this year in particular is the peak of peak 65. Over 4 million people are turning 65 this year. And it won't come as a big surprise to our audience that there is a retirement income crisis. The Alliance has really stepped into this space to really help educate consumers directly and certainly financial professionals. And Mike, with that in mind, this new glossary that you've created, I'd love you to share a little bit about why you think this is important, this Annuities 101 glossary, and tell us a little bit about what people can find in this.
Sure thing. Yeah, no problem. Um, Over the course of our time here my time with the Alliance, we really focused on educating consumers about the need for having protected income in their portfolio. So when they retire, they'll be able to maintain a lifestyle that they want, live a good life in retirement. And we really focused on that type of a education, what protected income is and why you need it. Didn't get too much into the actual products of annuities because there's only three forms of protected income: Social Security, pensions, and annuities. That's the only way you can get it. And we never really get into the product, but we had a lot of advisors, financial professionals, and consumers have come to us over the years and saying, is there anything you have as the Alliance? Not, we don't sell annuities, we don't sell product. Is there anything you have that could help educate me, help me understand annuities and where they fit and how they work, and the from your perspective, not from the perspective of a manufacturer, insurance company that makes them, get a little more simple, but yet give me enough to make me at least comfortable enough to start discussions with a financial professional when we get into this topic. So I'm not at square one when we actually start considering them. And why should I consider them? How much should put into an annuity? How much do I need? And so what we did was we decided, well, maybe it's time that we dipped our toe into the area of what are annuities, what are the different types of annuities, how do they kind of work, and try to help people figure out that sounds like me. That one sounds like it might fit how I feel, whether risk tolerance, whether it's a variable annuity invested in the market or a fixed annuity, much like a bond or a CD or something like that, it pays a fixed interest rate. Where does it fit? And how does it make them feel? So that's what we decided to do is build out an annuities 101, kind of a glossary or a primer, just a little something that's not huge. It's not like a textbook, that people could look at, read, maybe get a better understanding of a few things. Where does it fit in a portfolio? Why should I be concerned with it? What are annuities? And then what types are there and how do they work? So that's what we did. And we've built it. the Annuities 101 in basically in two sections. Um, from my perspective, somebody that's been in the sales side of the business dealing with consumers for years, before you get into the product and how they work, you need to know, do they fit you? Do they do what you want it to do? Do you have a need? How much do you put in and things of that nature? So a little more of the groundwork before you get into the actual, the nuts and the bolts of the products themselves. So we built the Annuities 101 glossary in that fashion. The first portion, section, I wanted people to understand that annuities have been around for a long time. They've been around since probably around 700 BC. The Romans, they built things called annuas, which were lifetime income vehicles. So they've been around doing their work and their job for, what, centuries? And but they're kind of misunderstood. People really don't know much about them. There's a lot of reasons why, but neither here nor there. So they've been around. Now the question gets to be is where do they fit? So we wanted to show people when you think about retirement, there's a what we call an income hierarchy. Where does your income, what are the things you need? We call them your needs, your wants, your wishes. Your needs are the things you got to have, utilities, food, groceries, clothes. That's where an annuity, the income from an annuity fits. Down in there, we call it protected income, Social Security, pensions, annuities. That's where they go. Next question is people always ask, well, how much should I put in an annuity? You don't want to put all your money into an annuity. I mean, that's not, it's for a slice to help make up shortfalls of protected income from other areas. So we built the first half to kind of guide people through that, give them a real basic financial income planning feel, right? So to help them understand. Then the question gets to be is, well, what kind of annuities are there? That's where we really, the meat of the glossary comes in to help people understand that there's fixed annuities, there's index annuities, different types of index annuities, there's variable annuities, annuities that deal with built only for qualified like IRAs. Some annuities are built really to help with people with long-term care issues. How do they work? Which one fits me? Where do you go to understand them without opening up a textbook? And just to get you a little more on the step two or step three of the ladder to understanding, does it fit you? Is it something that may work for you? That's what it does. So it's built in two sections, not real long, probably only, less than 15 pages. So you can read it. It's going to be available on our website for anybody to come and read. It's not just for financial professionals, but I'm sure there's a lot of things in there that people, there's other things that you can access through this, like our language glossary, which really helps you understand a better understanding of the terms that you'll find in annuities, like death. What's a death benefit? What's a rider? Think people like, well, I'm not familiar with those terms. We've got something that you can access through this that would help you understand it. So it's a good primer for annuities and to help people understand what they're about, where they fit, how they work. Is it for you or not? That's going to be up to you and your financial professional to make that decision, not us. Um, and that's what it does. Um, it's a nice little introduction to annuities for education for consumers.
Thank you, Mike. And one of the things that we talked about earlier, which I think is hopefully obvious to everyone, which is this is written as an education piece, not a sales piece.
Right.
And one of the things the Alliance, thanks to your help and the work of our other fellows, is taking things that could sometimes be very complex and making them more simple. We take a lot of our academic research, in fact, and try to make it very practical. And so I love that you said that this is a tool and guide for both consumers and their financial professionals. So it's multifaceted.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And I mean, it's when we think about financial, success and living a good life in retirement, what we find out is that people there's a few things about financial security that all people want. They want to feel safe and secure when they retire. They want to be, have some optimism about the future and be proud of what they've done. And they want to make sure they make smart, responsible decisions when it comes to building out a portfolio and retiring so that they can live that good life. The thing is that when we try to make decisions about what's right for us, unless we have those feelings of safety and security and that we just can't move forward. And so what this tries to help people do is give themselves a better understanding so they can get out of their own way and make a smart decision that's right for them. So if we can just help satisfy those needs and make sure people feel comfortable moving forward, that's if we can do that, we hit a home run.
Agreed, Mike. And one of my passions is this intersection of our emotional lives as well as our financial lives. And we can certainly be our own worst enemies when it comes to that ability to solve problems when we get stuck on concepts. So thank you, Mike, for also shedding some daylight with this new tool. So we talk about this a lot, which is when we talk to friends and family. I always say, what are some of the biggest takeaways you'd hope for them when you have those conversations?
I would say there's two things. If I could focus on just, you know, two things, I'd be happy. If you ask for too much, you don't get it. If you ask for too little, you don't help people. So the two things I would say if I was meeting with a family member or a friend or somebody that's getting ready to retire, preparing for retirement, maybe even already in retirement, what I want them to understand is I want them to have a better understanding of what an annuity is, that it's not something that's just popped up in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. And where does it fit in their portfolio? When you start thinking about an annuity, what does it do? Where does it fit? So that you can start kind of breaking down, you know, do I have a need or not? Not everybody needs an annuity. There's a lot of people that have plenty of protected income already with a nice pension and Social Security and their lifestyle. So that's the first part of this primer is to help them understand where does it fit? Do I need it? And if I do need it, how much of an annuity, how much should I put into an annuity to generate the income that I'm going to need to cover my need expenses? So education there on what they are, where do they fit, how much do I need one, and if I do, how much should I put in one, or at least some semblance of that. The second half, the thing I would want people to understand is there's a lot of annuities out there, a lot of different kinds, and they've always been kind of um, claimed to be complicated, very complex products. Well, they are in a way. Complexity means they're not real easy to break down and understand. They can be you can do it. Every product out there can be complex. A car is very complex, but you don't worry about how the engine works and all that stuff. But once you learn how to drive it, the rest of it will take care of itself. So I guess what I'm saying is annuities, I look at them and say they're very robust investments. They meet a need, they will perform without failure in all situations. They just are very good, stable products that fit in a certain place. But there's a lot of them. Like I said, there's index annuities, there, equity index, fixed index. There's variable annuities. There's index annuities with variable components to it. So how do you decide which one fits at least makes you feel like that kind of fits in my risk tolerance? Like if I'm very risk adverse, maybe a fixed annuity or an indexed annuity with some protections in it would make me feel comfortable. Or if I'm very risk tolerant, I want to swing for the fences. I want the opportunity to make my money work as hard as it possibly can. Then there's products that would fit that. So how can I do both? And I think that's what I want people to understand out of this is the first half, where they fit, how much. Second half is what are they? And feel comfortable knowing that there's an annuity out there that'll probably fit my tolerance how I feel, how I look at investing, and could be a good component or a good addition to their portfolio as a slice of an invested portfolio.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, and we could talk for hours about this topic because it is so interesting, I think intellectually, but also functionally, because as you said, some people have not necessarily filled that need bucket where they've got Social Security guaranteed income, they've got pension guaranteed income, but they're still a little short. And so the annuity is the only other way that you can have that protection or protected income in retirement. So we'll push this to another conversation at the Fellows Corner, but I really appreciate your time and insights and wisdom today, Mike. And for all of you out there that are watching, we have numerous resources at our website, protectedincome.org, and we'll be releasing this Annuities 101 glossary shortly. And I will look forward to seeing everyone at the next Fellows Corner. Thank you.